I'm trying to save people's lives. Nice. This is something I've been wanting to do for a while. I got this breathalyzer a while back, and what I want to show is that I think people really frequently underestimate the strength of beers nowadays. And they'll go and they'll say, I just had 2 beers, or I just had 1 beer. I couldn't possibly be, impaired or really be feeling that many of the effects of alcohol. And people underestimate it all the time. So really, I'm trying to save people's lives here. Like, this is really, really important to me. As many of you know, I own and operate a craft beer bar. I sell alcohol to people. And this is a really important topic that comes up, and we're trying to protect those people. We're trying to protect the neighborhood. We're trying to protect our friends and families. This can hopefully help highlight that. So what I want to do is I'm gonna, as you saw here, 0.0, I haven't had anything to drink today. I'm gonna weigh myself so I sort of know where I'm at on the blood alcohol chart just as an estimate, and then have a pint of a standard beer, standard IPA, which is a really important, I think, factor here, because the strength of IPAs and beers in general has really gone up in the past 10, 20 years. The size of them have also gone up as well. So back in the day when people were just drinking out of a shaker pint, something like one of these, I'm sure you've seen these before, and is that these aren't as big. It's rare to actually be getting a full 16 ounces out of this. I just measured this glass, and if you fill it all the way to the rim, like spilling over the edge, that's only 15 ounces. So it's actually already an ounce short, and typically a bar will pour a little bit, they'll have a bit of a head on it, there'll be a little bit of space. So it's, at the lowest 12 ounces, but it's definitely not 16 ounces. Whereas nowadays, you're much more likely to see craft beer bars in particular doing something like this. They'll have a mark. So this says 0.5 liters. This is from Deschutes Brewery. Measured, obvious, like if the liquid is to here, you're getting that much volume. Where there's no marking on it whatsoever. A 5%, so there's this classic formula, this sheet. The sheet is basing an alcohol beverage for beer on a 12-ounce serving of a 5% alcohol beer. Years ago, that's like what most beers were. Nowadays, your Coors Light, your Bud Light, your Miller Lite, those things, many of those are hovering closer to the 4% range. As a quick cross-section of IPAs, which is in the Portland area at least, sort of the king of craft beers, it's by far the best-selling style of craft beer. Those percentages have gone up a lot. A standard right now, like the beer I'm going to be drinking tonight, is 6.7%, and that's right in sort of the middle of the range of what a lot of the other IPAs in the area are right now. Here's a few. The point is that an alcohol serving is one 12-ounce 5% alcohol beer. A pint, 16 ounces of a 7.5% beer, is the same amount of alcohol as 2 of those 12-ounce beers. And that's, I think, the thing that scares me, is that people assume that if they go to the bar and they have 2 pints of their favorite IPA that's 7.5%, in their head they'll think that they've only had 2 beers. And it's not 2 beers. If you've had 2 pints of a 7.5% alcohol beer, you've had 4. And basically, and nobody, based on this, is absolutely in the clear with having had that much within a couple of hours. I'm gonna be a guinea pig here and show what it's like to at least drink one of these and see where it's at. So we'll start off. We'll figure out. I don't know. Let's go find out. Okay, so I'm 188 pounds. That includes holding the tripod and the clothes and everything. So for the purposes of this, we'll assume it's 180 because that's the closest breakdown on the chart. So for me, it's saying that with 2 drinks, I'd probably be around a 0.04. So we'll kind of see how that stacks up. I'm gonna have a pint of a 6.7% alcohol IPA, the Breakside Wanderlust IPA, one of my favorites. And I'm gonna hang out. I'm gonna play around on the computer for a little bit. To use the breathalyzer at the end, you have to not have anything to eat or drink for 20 minutes before you use it. It helps prevent getting a bad reading. So, need a beer. This one has 16 ounces of water. I measured it earlier. Close enough, at least, right? All right. So I've got my beer. Cheers. Water, and then we're gonna wait 20 minutes. 20 minutes, so this takes a little bit to warm up. See, it's kind of... .036. So that's pretty accurate to what the chart would estimate for somebody of my size and the amount that I'd had in the time that I'd had it. It's been an hour since I first had a sip, which is how you're supposed to calculate it. So I had the equivalent of, or I had 1.78 or 1.79 alcohol drinks based on the amount of alcohol in a pint of a 6.7% alcohol IPA. So it's close to 2 whole drinks. So the math on this chart works out really, really closely, that I didn't quite have 2 full drinks, but at a 180-pound person, which I am, having 2 drinks, as the breathalyzer showed, I was just under 0.04, and I had just under 2 drinks. So imagine if I had then had another one, and even if I'd been drinking faster, or when I finished the first one after 30 minutes or so, and then immediately had another one, where would I be at now? If I had 2 drinks at a 30-minute interval, rather than 30 minutes and then a 20-minute break, so it's basically been, right, it's been a whole hour, I could be much worse off. And so that's the point, is that just because you had only 1 beer or only 2 beers doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to be okay to drive or to travel. Inhibition and judgment are the first things that disappear with alcohol consumption. So it's so important to have some other system to evaluate for yourself, whether it's one of these, whether it's the chart. They make little card-sized charts of this system, and you can do the math. And even if you're just, estimating, make sure to estimate fairly. The default assessment of, oh, I only had, this many glasses of beer. Whole pints of stronger alcohol beer don't count the same as what is considered an alcohol drink. Oh yeah, there's one more way to think about it that might help some people, is that most people, I imagine, wouldn't picture taking 4 shots of straight liquor, 4 shots of vodka, tequila, whatever your choice is, 4 shots in an hour, every 15 minutes, suppose, and then immediately think that they're like ready to go and hop in a car. At least I hope that they wouldn't. But that's exactly what drinking 2 pints of a 7.5% alcohol beer is doing in terms of the amount of actual alcohol that's in your system, which is the only thing that matters. The type of liquor, they're all just a guise for the actual chemical that is in your bloodstream and is impacting your brain. So just because it was only 2 beers, not 4 shots, that's irrelevant, right? It's the amount of actual alcohol that's in the liquid that you're consuming that's then in your blood. And it just takes a while to process. So pay attention, be safe, be careful, and enjoy your beverages.